What's poppin', y'all? What's good with you? Happy Monday. Hope you guys are enjoying your Monday or whatnot. I'm looking crazy because I'm on my way to the gym. About to go work out for a little bit. You know, that's an everyday thing for me. But I hope you guys are enjoying your Monday morning or whatnot. Hopefully you enjoyed your weekend. I did. I had a good weekend. I got 1 vaccination down. I go for vaccination number 2 here soon. So I'll be fully vaccinated. I'm ready to be outside without these masks and all that. You know what I'm saying? But I hope y'all doing good out there. Anyway, I just came real quick as I'm driving to the gym. I've been seeing this Joe Budden stuff, and I'm a podcast on it too this week. I know you guys have been seeing it. It's been like the trending topic for the last week so far. Joe Budden fires Rory and Mal from the podcast. He violates Rory on the podcast, dogs him out, talks about Maul, goes crazy. He just does what Joe Budden does, right? And there's some people who coming out and saying, well, he had to do what he had to do. And there's other people saying Joe Budden is a jerk and this and that. I mean, we all know Joe sabotages everything he does. And I don't want to give too much of what I want to say on here because I want you guys to go check out the podcast on Spotify, which I'm going to either drop it this evening or tomorrow morning. So be looking out for it. So I'm not going to stay too long with talking about it. But what I will say is I think Joe is messed up for this one. No matter how we look at it, no matter how many times he has Akademiks go on Twitch and talk about Rory and Mal, I know they'd be like, well, I didn't talk to Ak. I didn't talk to Joe. I don't care what they say. They converse. Somehow, whether it's through DMs, texts, they talk. Akademiks don't just know that stuff that he knows, some of the stuff that he knows that he's been saying just because of the word on the street. That's not how it go. I feel like Joe has been trying to get rid of Rory. Not necessarily Mal. Mal is just kind of like collateral damage because Mal decided to be a stand-up guy and be like, man, you're not just going to treat Rory like this. I think Joe is arrogant, but Joe's always been arrogant. He likes to say he's not narcissistic, and he likes to read like the first line of what a narcissist is, and he doesn't read the whole thing, but Joe is a narcissistic. And he probably has changed since he finally got some money. Joe ain't always had money. Joe ain't really start getting to the bag until after this podcast. That's why when you guys remember back in the day, a couple years ago when those guys was chasing him, he ran out of his old house, looked like a 1980s house with his holes and his wife beater and all types of shit. Like Joe, he just now touching real money. So the arrogance that he had, yeah, it's gotten bigger. He had a big head, now his head is bigger. Saying all that to say how he did his homeboys was foul. Sitting there talking about here with some of my nearest and dearest friends. These are my guys. Always preaching the creator this, creator that. He doesn't want to be jerked around for this, doesn't want to be jerked around for that. All the shit that Joe talks about just went out the window to me when he did that to his boys. Ain't nothing real about that. I've been looking at Joe funny since the whole Akademiks thing, and he's never even said anything to Akademiks or let them respond, or he's never even came out and said anything. Now he'll probably be like, well, why do I need to say anything to Akademiks? Rory went to his house, Rory did this. Okay, when Rory did go to his house and do that, if Rory did that, that was months after months. Akademiks have been violating Rory and Mal, and Joe said nothing. Obviously, finally, Rory got frustrated and tried to do something. Was it some corny shit? Yeah. But he tried to do something and got caught up. And then Akademiks being Akademiks continued to violate them, but went even more overboard. My thing is, why couldn't Joe just call Ak and be like, yo, Ak, these are my guys. This is who I work with. You know, you're making the situation uncomfortable for me. So because you're my guy, can you let up on them? I'll talk to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to you. I get it, you don't like them, whatever. Joe could have did that as the boss if he wanted to. He didn't have to say, well, I'm not going to work with Akademiks no more and all of this other shit. He didn't have to say that. Yeah, if you're going to work with Ak because you and Ak want to go get the bag, cool, but you still didn't do what you're supposed to do as the boss. You're supposed to be like, yo, Ak, back off my guys, please, please. If you would have did that before Rory even showed up to his house, there would have been no Rory incident. Don't cut that part out of the story. Ak been violating Rory and Maul. Been. Because he was mad because his name came up on you guys' podcast a few years ago and he felt violated by them. Because Akademiks is a little sensitive. You know, he was... So yeah, he been violating them, but you did nothing. Nothing, Joe. Literally, all you had to do was call Ak and be like, yo, Ak, back off my guys. Please. Please, Ak, back off my guys. You know? Then there would have never been Rory trying to pull up. It would have been none of that. That would have been probably at least 20% of you guys' tension between you guys and the podcast for your nearest and dearest friends. Then that would have been out. Then boom. Now all you guys are dealing with is this tax shit and this money shit. Now maybe because Rory was asking you about the money and the taxes or whatever the fuck he was asking about, I don't know. Maybe that's why you let Akademiks go in on him for so long without saying anything. Until he felt like, okay, I gotta do something. Maybe that's why. Maybe you was like, man, this nigga gonna, you know, get me asking about my books and money and all this stuff that, from what it sounds like, because of what they said on their response to you, they should be able to see. But, you know, it is what it is. Like I said, I don't want to say too much on here because I'm going to talk about this on the podcast. I just really wanted to touch bases with you guys here on YouTube. Make sure you guys click in the description. The podcast is there on Spotify. Like I said, it'll either be out tonight or tomorrow morning. So you guys stay tuned for that. Yeah, man. I just think this whole Joe Budden thing is crazy, yo. And not just because, it's not like it's a surprise or anything, because Charlamagne said it a long time ago. For those of us who've been following Joe Budden for a long time, we already know what it is with Joe. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But he was supposed to have his homies back, bruh. Before Rory went to Akademiks' house, Ak has been violating them dudes. Been violating them dudes before Rory even showed up to the house. So Joe could have called Ak and said, yo, Ak, can you please let up off my guys? And if you would act cool like y'all say y'all cool, he would have did it. He would have did it. I get you want to work with Ak in the future. Maybe you don't want to burn that bridge for whatever reasons. Cool. But these supposed to be your guys. You're supposed to be cut different, Joe. But obviously not. You know what I'm saying? And I know I'm more on this Ak part of it. I'm going to get to the other side of what the guy's talking about. But I think that had a lot to do with it. And I think Joe's cold for even that. People are surprised that he didn't do anything, or he went off on his podcast like he did. I'm not surprised at that. Or that he did them like that. Because you've been letting, like I said, Akademiks violate these dudes. And for the last time, I keep saying this because I want this to be thrown into the narrative that they're trying to put out there. That before Rory even showed up, if he did, this is all alleged because I guess Rory told Joe that he didn't do that. But whatever, it is what it is. All I'm saying is Joe could have deaded that before Rory showed up to Akademiks' house. And any of that happened. Akademiks been violating them dudes. And Akademiks, don't act like that was the only reason you kept going in. You've been going in. You were so salty that these dudes was talking about you when Joe went to Everyday Struggle with you and they would come back and talk on the podcast. You didn't like the things that they would say about you. And that's cool. Defend yourself. That's fine. And when you had your window and you saw it, you defended yourself. But then you kept going and going and going and going. And can't nobody tell you how to react. Cool. But can't nobody tell Rory how to react. He did what he did, and then after that, can't nobody tell you how to react again. I get it. That. My point is, Joe, you could have deaded that from the beginning just by saying, can you stop? Can you hold off on my guys? You know, I'm in business with these guys. You know, we're doing things, and this is kind of getting in the way of my business. Now, Akademiks saying he's the businessman that he is, I don't see why he would have said no. He'd have been like, all right, Joe, I'll let up off your guys. You know, I won't violate them so much. This is what I think Akademiks would say. And if he would have said, no, I'm going to do what I want to do and fuck you, Joe, well, then that's where, then you know where y'all stand. And I get it. You don't want to go too hard on Akademiks because Akademiks finds things out. He's a big media guy. When they tried to do the smear campaign on you, some stories came out, got to Akademiks. He won't post it, but he'll let you know that it's coming around. I get it. You got to build these type of relationships because you want, you know, you rub my back, I rub your back type of situation. But them were supposed to be your friends. And I feel like you should have stepped in before it even got to Rory having to try to do something to defend himself. Because I feel like you just did want them to sit back and look like punks. Now, Maul like that, he just don't care. He a different type of dude. He like, whatever, dude. Say what you want. Talk how you talk. Maybe if we see each other in the street or outside somewhere, it'll be a different story. Outside of that, I'm not going back and forth with you. I get it. Rory may be a little different. Sensitive, maybe. Maybe he like, yo, you ain't going to just keep violating me. He tried to do something. It backfired. Joe, you could have stopped that. You also didn't have to violate them like you did, but you came back and apologized, I guess, for whatever your reasons were for apologizing. That was cool. And hopefully, you know, all that other shit will get worked out with the money and all that. But look, I've already been talking for too long. Like I said, I'm going to talk more about it on the pod. We'll get more into what Joe said on his podcast. We'll get more into what the guys were saying on their response and all of that, man. You guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning into this YouTube, though. Before you go, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, talk back to me. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me. If you feel like there's something I'm missing in saying that, tell me. If you want me to call you when I'm putting out the podcast and you want to give an opinion, let me know. Write something in the comments. Let me know. I'll make sure I respond back to everybody. And appreciate you guys for being on the YouTube. Again, subscribe, like, comment, all of that. I know I'm looking crazy. Like I said, I'm about to go into the gym. You know, and do my thing for an hour or whatnot. Then I'm going to get out of here. So y'all have a good day. Have a good Monday. I'm going to holler at y'all YouTube. Peace.